Hello guys, this is Blake again, and in this segment we're going to talk about reliability and using the internet. We already explained that the databases are better, more secure to use because the resources are in general more reliable. But as a student, it is your priority and responsibility to know why your resources are good and to understand the logic as to why your resources are good. You don't just want to stumble across an article on the internet or on the databases and say, oh, this resource is good because I found it on the internet. Oh, this resource is good because I had it on the EPCC databases. You want to tell your instructor, you want to understand as a student why your resources are good. Let me cut off my camera really quick, share my screen, show you a couple of slides really quickly. And we're going to start out with this one, guys. Liability. I found my source on the internet. It must be reliable. Must be reliable. Overall, there is an importance to recognizing the characteristics of reliable and unreliable resources. Being able to distinguish this reliability, guys, is going to benefit you in all of your studies. I put a car here, for example. What are some reasons this car is not drivable? You're looking at it and you're like, oh, I know it's not drivable. But when you think deeply down into the why this car is not drivable, it's missing its wheels, it has no engine, it's lacking its mirrors, and its windows are shattered. So just like looking at this car, it's important to recognize the detailed reasons as to why a source is good, similar to the detailed notes into mentioning why this car is not drivable. And to do this, guys, a quick little shortcut, you're always going to want to remember this, you're going to want to note this down. This will benefit you in any class you're in when you're doing research in college, is the CRAP test. Is your information credible? CRAAP. You're always going to want the most current information. If you're doing something on technology, are you going to want an article that's 15 years old? Maybe you're doing a research paper on the evolution of cell phones. No, an outdated article would not help you in that case. But in hindsight, if you're doing something on history, history never changes. Relevance. Does your information pertain to your topic? That's a pretty simple one. If it pertains to your topic, you could check mark that one and get the go-ahead. Authority. Guys, this one's the most important one. Who does your information come from? Does it come from a professional in the field? If I'm doing something on technology, is it coming from an engineer? Or is it coming from some kid who lives in his parents' basement? Is it coming from a medical doctor if I'm doing something on cancer, for example? Or is it coming from a John Doe and that's all it's coming from? Or does it not have an author? Just like the authority, if you don't have a specific author, it's okay. It could come from a professional organization that you know is good, or it could come from other professional entities. Accuracy. This is another important one. It's similar to relevance. With the accuracy, how are you going to trust information if there's spelling errors, punctuation errors, and things like that? The more professional looking and grammatically correct an article is, the more credible it probably is. And last but not least, the purpose. You don't want biased articles. If you're doing something related to politics, are you going to use a website called ilovedonaldtrump.com? I don't think so. If you're doing something related to gun control, are you going to use something that's politically biased? You don't want to do that. If you're doing something related to the legalization of marijuana, are you going to use a company who sells marijuana and makes millions of dollars of marijuana off of it? Probably not. So you want unbiased sources. Remember this CRAP test, guys. It's the multifaceted process for determining the credibility of a resource. Currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. And in addition to this CRAP test, we're going to look at a couple of websites right now. You're also going to want to keep in mind domain names as well, guys. .gov is typically the most reliable. Then you got .edu, .int, .org for professional organizations, .com, and .net. Keep in mind, though, domain names are simply another indicator to determining the reliability of a resource. So just like the CRAP test, when you're using all of these tools to understand if your resource is good or not, the domain name is another indicator into helping you that. There are times when .org websites can be unreliable, where .com resources are reliable. But in general, you need to always refer to the CRAP test and the domain name to determine your reliability within a resource. Let's go to a couple of websites, guys. I'm going to go to my favorite one. I'm a heart buff. The American Heart Association. As you can see right here, the first thing you notice is the American Heart Association is a .org website. So typically it's telling you it's a professional organization. The information looks current. Actually, let's go to the home page. American Heart Association. 1 second, I apologize, guys. It's a .org website, as I indicated, guys. But as you can see, it looks really current. It looks updated. It looks professional. Now, we're talking about the authority. Who does the website come from? Any website you use, you should go to the About Me section or the About Us. So we know it's a professional organization, but who does it come from? And as you can see with the American Heart Association, they're giving you a lot of medical doctors and health professionals in the field so they're clearly showing you where their information is coming from and the professionals that maintain this information. There are not a lot of grammatical errors in the website. And look at this, it's taking you to their Facebook account, their Twitter account, their Instagram, all kinds of sources. So you know, guys, with the .org, the people who run the website, it looks clean and professional. It's grammatically correct. It's a website that you can trust, guys. And maybe you're doing something on cardiovascular disease, the American Heart Association will be a perfect resource to use for your guys' studies. Now I'm going to show you a website that's not so good, guys. I'm going to do Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a .org website, as you could see, guys. So you might typically initially think, oh, it's a good website. But you still need to evaluate your source. And what we're going to do is go to, let's see, let me go to the general website. And this is all part of the research process, guys. It takes a little bit of time and effort. But this is what you have to do when you research. So I'm going to go to the About Me section of Wikipedia. And as you could see, everyone could freely share in the sum of knowledge. So everyone's editing Wikipedia. You don't even have a direct author. So how can you trust a website without a direct author? And more importantly than that, if you do look up certain things on Wikipedia, I'll just type in a random professional athlete. You could edit information on Wikipedia, and it doesn't even just have to be for a professional athlete. It could be for significant political figures. It could be for a wide range of topics that you could edit on Wikipedia. So Wikipedia has no authority, guys. Even though it's a .org website, it does not have authority, and you have to eliminate that. Out of being the most credible or even a somewhat credible source if you try to use Wikipedia, even though it's a .org. What some people do with Wikipedia is, if they do want to research something that's more credible, is they'll go to the end of an article of Wikipedia and they'll find reliable sources within the references that are used. But you don't know who's putting this information together, so you can't fully trust it. Now, let me show you one more website. And this is why I want to show you the evaluation steps with the domain name and show you that it's just a clue and it's not always the case. The NSCA is the National Strength and Conditioning Association, and it's a .com website, as you could see, guys. Now, even though it's .com, you're going to want to think thoroughly, and you're going to say, hey, I want to check the About Me section of this website and see what it's about. As you could see with the NSCA, it's a nonprofit association dedicated to advancing the strength and conditioning and related sports science professions around the world. It talks about the community it empowers. It talks about the journals it works with. It talks about the peer review studies it does. You could see the people who run the NSCA. You could see their educational credentials. You could see their background. You could see their schooling, their years of experience. You could access certification around here, education. You could join courses here. So any information or any articles or any material that you would get from the NSCA would be a good website to use, because you know who runs it, you know it's an organization, you know it's a leading organization, and even though it's a .com, it's a professionally maintained website, it's grammatically clean, it's correct. You have all these tools to help you determine that this is a good website to use. While using the internet, you could also do something else to help you out with your research, guys. Maybe I'm doing the coronavirus. If I do want to limit it by domain name, maybe to help me out, you type in site and maybe use .org or .gov if I want to limit my resources. And typically, if those sites are available, as you could see, I put coronavirus site :.gov. I'm only getting .gov resources that are available. And typically speaking, .gov resources are the most reliable. They come from the government, and .edu are educational. So they're educational in nature. So it could save you time in doing research and eliminating the .com websites that are bad. But just remember that the domain name is not necessarily a straight clear-cut answer when you're looking for your resources, guys. I thank you for your time, and if you have any questions about the reliability of a resource, please feel free to ask. Thank you for viewing this video.